July 16th, 2020 EDC meeting to order. First on the agenda is approval of minutes. If everybody's had a chance to look over the February 20th minutes, do I have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes.
I second. Okay. Ava and June. Okay, thank you. Public participation. Public participation? Nothing. None. Reports. Eastern Connecticut Land Bank has filed its 501c3 paperwork. So we filed it with a request to expedite action on it. And I also enlisted Joe Courtney's help to help expedite that, so sooner rather than later. And that is the last thing we're waiting on before we can apply to DECD for our certification. Don Friday up at DECD did have an absolutely brilliant idea. He said, well, send everything in, and that way we can keep it in a holding pattern until you get 501c3. So that's what we're gonna do. So, getting there, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. That's all I have. Oh, I'd like to welcome June to the Economic Development Commission. You were just appointed, what, a couple of months ago, June?
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And now I don't have anything else. Does anybody else? Okay, moving on to old business, Economic Development Commission plan. Sadie Colcord, Advanced CT. Sadie, thank you so much for being here. We really, really appreciate it, and we are looking forward to going over this with you and moving forward with it. So you've got the floor.
Okay. Yeah, so thank you all for having me out, and I believe that you probably received this in advance, but we can just kind of go through it. And when I was putting this together, I threw kind of the kitchen sink in here, so, you know, not saying that you have to take on everything at once, but, you know, this is just kind of a bunch of different options that, for action items that you guys can move forward with, you know, depending on kind of where you want to put your focus. And of course I created this mostly pre-pandemic, but I've added a couple items in here that reflect, obviously, the issues that businesses are facing with COVID right now. So we can just kind of go through it and talk through it, and, you know, if you all have any questions or, you know, comments or anything. You know, also if you have any suggestions for things that you might like to see change, I'm happy to do them and I can make some changes. So I put this document together with kind of 4 main goals in mind. Number 1, increasing new development and business expansions. Number 2, engaging existing businesses to ensure retention and encourage expansion within Plainfield. Planning and prioritizing municipal investments to support economic development and develop community buy-in for this plan. And then growing tourism opportunities within Plainfield. So under the category of increasing new development and business expansion, we first have doing an inventory of commercial real estate. So this is just looking, basically putting together a list of, you know, every commercial real estate opportunity in town, and you can do this by looking at the online databases, whether that's LoopNet or SiteFinder, and I put in here kind of what those are, and, you know, reaching out to just people in town that you think might be willing to, you know, sell their property for the right price for business purpose. And then just, you know, putting that in a spreadsheet and adding in, you know, here's how much it costs, this is what the zoning is, this is, you know, are there utilities at the site, and just adding in kind of all the additional pieces that could help guide a conversation. You know, if a business owner's wants to come to town and says, you know, what real estate do you have available? Now you have just kind of an easy, ready to go list that you can look at to kind of guide that conversation and just have a a better idea of what's available. So next I have prepare a data package to promote business recruitment, and this is a little blurry, so I'll just talk about it. So basically, it's kind of like a business recruitment document that, again, when that business is coming into town hall and says, you know, I'm thinking about starting a business in Plainfield and just want to know more about the town, you can, of course, have a discussion with them, but, you know, this document can be given to them and it has information on, you know, here's what the transit options are. Here is the drive time to major regional hubs like Boston and Hartford. Here is what the workforce is like in Plainfield. Some of the key industries and some of the larger businesses. You know, you might even think about including some of the key real estate opportunities. So just something, you know, putting together that document that, you know, a potential business owner could just take away and, you know, look at it and say, wow, okay, Plainfield looks like a great place for me to locate. So next is promote large developable parcels. So, you know, I think that there are probably some key real estate opportunities in Plainfield that you guys are really looking to get developed or redeveloped or whatever that might be. So working to promote those a little bit more, you can work through Advanced CT. We kind of just do promotion of larger real estate opportunities, you know, looking at advertising in kind of local or regional publications, maybe the New England Real Estate Journal, and you can take out an ad for not too much money and say, you know, here, look at this awesome site in Plainfield, and here's all the reasons that you want to develop this site and locate your business here. And I put a few other items in there in terms of how you can look to do a little bit more advertising. Next is host a familiarization tour. So this is something, you know, once you have that inventory and have a strong idea of, you know, what the real estate opportunities are in Plainfield, and you have kind of that data that you've now collected, and you really have that strong pitch for why a business should be locating in Plainfield, you can look at inviting, you know, commercial brokers, you can look at inviting developers, prospective businesses, whoever that might be, who has shown interest in Plainfield in the past, who is currently showing interest, you know, from the surrounding towns and beyond. Invite them and, you know, do a tour. You know, sometimes people will rent a bus actually and just drive people around town and show, you know, here are the key sites that we, you know, want to show to you, and do a little presentation and, you know, maybe make some snacks and have some networking or whatever that might be. But that's a great way to get people familiar with the town and some of the key opportunities kind of in that in-person, personal type setting. Next I have engage with the Eastern Connecticut Brownfield Land Bank. So obviously that Marianne is you know, well underway with this, but just making sure, you know, this is a huge opportunity for the region. So just making sure that, you know, you're aware of kind of what the key brownfield sites are in town, and you know, what should be redeveloped and what needs to be kind of remediated, and you know, just kind of keep that in the forefront and engage with the land bank about those sites. So next we have monitor the DCD Office of Brownfield Redevelopment for funding announcements. So that one's simple. You know, that office, you know, will periodically release an announcement for funding, and so just making sure that you're checking that website, or, you know, sign up for the notifications every once in a while, so that you can kind of stay on top of when funding might be released, just because that's something that's particularly important for Plainfield. So now moving on to the next topic. So we were just talking about kind of business recruitment and expansion. So now looking more to the business retention and working with businesses that are currently in town and helping them expand as well. So first I have supporting businesses affected by COVID. So this is really just reaching out to them and having a conversation with them about, you know, what they're experiencing, what their needs are right now, and staying up to date on kind of what the state's doing in terms of any reopening plans, any, kind of requirements for reopening, like PPE, like, social distancing, whatever that might be. And so when you're having those conversations with the businesses, you can kind of relay that information and then, listen to what their concerns and challenges are and just try and address those the best you can, whether that's something, locally, most likely it's going to be kind of probably more of a state level issue or just, a financial issue. But, then looking to maybe connect them with some of the programs that are available through the federal government or the state government. So just kind of staying on top of that, making sure that you're communicating with the businesses, particularly right now. And this one is participate in ongoing business visitation. So this is similar to the previous item, which was COVID focused. This is just go out and talk with the businesses periodically. Maybe make a more formal plan for engaging them as EDC members. You guys are the ones who are, out in the community already. So, this is a really great role for you all to take on is, when you're out in the community, go, visit a few businesses or even make a plan, every month we want to visit 5 businesses or whatever it might be. And, kind of stick to that and make sure that you, have that process in place and that you're kind of, working to engage with as many businesses as possible on an ongoing basis, not just one time. Next is engage with economic development partner organizations and connect them to local businesses. So this is kind of tying in with the business visits as you're engaging with businesses and they're saying, I have a problem with, I need to better understand how to do marketing and I want to make a marketing plan, but I don't know how. Or, I am thinking about, moving to South Carolina and I don't know how I can stay in Connecticut. So just, having an understanding of the different types of organizations that are out there in the state that could, provide support in these different areas. And I have kind of a list here of some of the key ones for, kind of statewide and then for Plainfield's region that you could be reaching out to. And just, going on the website and looking at the different programs that are available. And if you have any questions on any of like the specific types of organizations and what they do, I'm available to kind of help you. And of course, Marianne, I'm sure, is very well aware of a lot of these as well. So, engage remote workers. So this is something, this is kind of another COVID-related one, because so many people have been working from home and many continue to work from home, and it might even be more of a permanent thing for a lot of companies. Looking to engage those people in Plainfield to see how you can best support them. So, and it's, it can be a little bit challenging to reach this particular group because they're not necessarily, they don't have a storefront or they don't, they're just kind of in their homes working. So doing things like posting on the town website, on the town social media, putting up flyers even in public buildings or in, the diner, the coffee shop, whatever that might be, and, saying, we're here to help you if you're a remote worker, let's connect, maybe take this survey that we're doing so that we can get a better understanding of what your needs are and how we can best support you, and just trying to reach out to them that way and kind of get that exposure in those public spaces. And as you kind of evolve and have more conversations with these remote workers, this is an opportunity to find out what they need and make sure that they're successful because, as you have more remote workers in town, that brings more income into town and that supports more businesses. So we definitely want to be, encouraging remote workers to be here. So whether that is, there's broadband issues and we need to take that up kind of at the state level, or, I am looking for an opportunity to, work from home but not be in my home, so maybe we can create a co-working space out of the public library and you dedicate a room in the public library to, you know, people can rent out a desk here or whatever that might be. But just trying to determine what they need and to make sure that they are successful in Plainfield, because they really do have a strong economic impact. Next is engage home-based businesses. So again, kind of similar in terms of working to engage them, you know, trying to get that information out in public places, both kind of digitally and then, you know, in physical locations, because, you know, people walk into town hall or people walk into the local restaurant or whatever that might be. And of course, home-based businesses are really important to the economy, and a lot of towns don't even realize how many they have. Like a lot of times, like 50% of the town's businesses are home-based. There's a lot. So just working to make sure that we're engaging those and making sure that they're successful, and maybe they become so successful that they grow into a commercial space, and then, you know, that of course benefits the town with tax revenue and, you know, just bringing some additional commerce in. So, and another way to kind of engage the home-based businesses and engage remote workers also is by the town hosting events that are kind of targeted to, you know, the types of themes that these groups are interested in. Like, you know, you could bring in the Small Business Development Center to do a workshop on, you know, creating a marketing plan. And so that's, you know, something that a home-based business would probably, you know, really like to learn about. Or even just doing networking events for the business owners and the remote workers who are in town, and just bringing them together just to, you know, have some social time and collaborate a little bit. So next we had engage community. Okay, so now we're moving on to another one of the goals that I mentioned. So this one is plan and prioritize municipal investments to support economic development and develop community buy-in. So this next one is engage community members from each area or village within Plainfield to determine their priority projects for funding. So from our last conversation in February, I learned that Plainfield has, you know, several different village centers, and, you know, I think that that's something that's really interesting and unique about the town, but that also means, you know, there are probably a lot of different priorities in terms of what people want to see for infrastructure investments, you know, whether that's, you know, doing roadway improvements or, you know, facade improvements or whatever that might look like. But convening all these people, and again, maybe that's through doing a survey or, you know, some type of a public forum or whatever that might look like, and doing a brainstorm on the types of investments that we'd like to see to kind of enhance those communities. And of course that ties into economic development as it, you know, attracts residents and attracts businesses. So, and, you know, once you have those conversations, you know, make a plan and, you know, say, here are some of the things that we heard that the residents in these different areas would like to see investments in. And, yeah, so that kind of ties into the next one of creating a plan, prioritizing this investment, and then develop buy-in from the community and elected officials for this plan. So now that you've created this plan on, you know, where there might be opportunity for economic development projects, or, you know, putting up signage, doing roadway improvements, or what have you. Getting, you know, now you've developed community buy-in because you've kind of worked with the community throughout the process. And then, you know, you could, you know, send a memo to the Board of Selectmen, and, you know, have an ongoing conversation about, you know, we've talked with the community and we think that these are some great investments, and, you know, maybe we should look for some grant funding for these types of projects, or, you know, municipal budgeting is always an option, but probably for these types of investments, it would mostly be grant funding. But, you know, making sure that you're getting support from elected officials too, and that they understand that, you know, you put a lot of work into this, and, you know, that the community's supporting you as well. And then so the final kind of goal item I have is growing tourism opportunities within Plainfield. So obviously Plainfield's in a really beautiful location. There are lots of kind of outdoor recreation opportunities, natural amenities, things that people want to be a part of, and places that people want to visit in Plainfield. So a few items here. Connect the East Coast Greenway Trail with the rivers in the village centers. So, you know, this East Coast Greenway Trail is you know, a pretty major trail. So, you know, maybe you look to get some grant funding to do to create offshoots of that trail that lead to the rivers and that lead to the town centers, so that you can create more connectivity between them, and you know, you create more of an experience for people coming into town and who are going to be, you know, using the trail. And you know, that's definitely probably a longer term project, but just something to be thinking about and moving towards. Next is promoting engagement and activity around the rivers. So I believe the last time we talked in February, we had talked about the fact that the rivers are kind of underutilized and there's not too much activity, or at least more formalized activity. So looking to just do some events based around the rivers. Maybe that's a duck race, or you know, a kayak race, or whatever that might look like, or just doing some type of a fundraiser and having it right there. Just trying to activate that space and bring people to the river, because that's a great amenity, and you know, attracting people not just from Plainfield but from around the region for that. And then connecting tourism-related businesses to key statewide and regional resources. So there are a bunch of different types of organizations, regionally and statewide, that can help promote some of the tourism-related businesses in Plainfield. So that could be, you know, the Connecticut Office of Tourism. That could, and they have a great website called ctvisit.com that businesses can just log on to and actually make a post about what their business is, and they'll promote it. The Last Green Valley is a great organization that's kind of more regional, and they do a lot of kind of more outdoor recreation type of promotions. So that's a great group to partner with, partnering with your chambers of commerce to help promote some of the businesses, like the Eastern Connecticut Chamber of Commerce, and I think the Northeastern Connecticut Chamber as well. Next item is capitalize on Plainfield's many village centers as a promotional opportunity. So I think it's really kind of cool that Plainfield has a bunch of village centers, so kind of play up maybe the differences and kind of advertise, you know, come to this village center for, you know, the pizza, and come to this village center for hiking, or whatever the key differences are between these different village centers, and kind of play that up as an opportunity to get people to come and visit, and you know, highlight what makes each of them special and interesting. And the final item I have, I believe, is supporting farmers in growing agritourism opportunities. So I think agriculture is a big part of the tradition of not only Plainfield, but kind of the region as well. And so working to make connections for them, whether that's connecting them to farmers markets, you know, in town and in the region and beyond, and, you know, maybe connecting them with a local restaurant that, you know, wants to do a farm-to-table dinner, or, you know, just having them get out in the community more. Maybe that means doing an event with the Parks and Recreation Department on, you know, do farming in the community, just trying to get people in Plainfield engaged and the businesses engaged that, you know, could kind of be their customers for farming. Maybe that's, you know, a local retailer that wants to sell locally made products, locally made jam, or whatever it might be. So yeah, so that's it. Happy to take any questions, comments.
You listed a number of things, Sadie, that are year one.
Yes.
And ongoing.
Yeah.
That's a lot to tackle.
Yes.
So can you prioritize those? You know,
Yeah.
what should we tackle first?
I think the number one goal just of a town's economic development function, like in general, is business retention. So I think number one should be reaching out to the businesses in town, making sure that they're in a good place, connecting them to resources, you know, making sure that you're kind of learning about the different types of organizations that are out there, and I've listed a bunch in this document. And so, you know, I think that that's number one, making sure that the business community here is healthy. You know, the tourism piece is great, that can kind of come later on. You know, obviously right now, businesses are preoccupied with COVID and everything. But I think just making sure that the existing business community is healthy and is in a good place. And I think that's, you know, a great role for all of you in, you know, just going out and talking to businesses and, you know, connecting them where connections need to be made. I think that that's probably the number one thing. And then, you know, beyond that, you can start maybe putting together some kind of promotional material for, you know, trying to attract businesses and putting that inventory together. And, you know, that can be kind of a secondary, you know, as you're starting to look beyond just what's here in town and looking kind of more broadly to try and attract some businesses, but definitely the retention piece is key.
Okay, and you talked about a survey. Would you be able to help us put one together?
Yep. Yeah, and we've done, and I think I mentioned a survey a few times in here, but, you know, I think for like remote workers would be a good opportunity to survey kind of the residents of the town and say, you know, maybe in 6 months and say, you know, are you working remotely, and were you working remotely a year ago, so that you can kind of gauge, you know, is this more of a permanent thing where, you know, people are starting to work remotely now more permanently, or was it just temporary? Or just doing other, and I can't remember specifically where in there I put survey, but I think I probably put it a couple times. But it's just a great way to get feedback from the community and kind of guiding, you know, where the priorities need to be, so.
So what's our next step?
I mean, I think in terms of us or in terms of this?
In terms of the plan?
Yeah, so I think starting with going out, making a plan for visiting businesses, I think, you know, like I said, if you put a little bit more formality, and actually I'll send you a survey that we use for doing business visitations, so that you can use it to kind of guide the conversation around, you know, how things are going for business. But I would say, you know, if you can say as a group, you know, we're gonna do 5 business visitations a month, or, you know, 2 business visitations each per month, or whatever that might be, I think that's a great kind of first step towards, you know, make some progress on this. So I would say that would probably be a good first step. And yeah, I'll make a note to actually send you that business visitation survey.
All the work you put into this, and this is a really great economic development commission plan with a great outline of what we need to do.
Right, and like I said, there's a lot in it, and doing all of this at once is probably far beyond, you know, the capabilities of a volunteer group, but this gives some ideas for, you know, if you're not doing it right now, then maybe this is something that we look at doing, you know, in a year or two, and, you know, you can pick and choose what you want to take on and what you think is most important. You know, I clearly threw the kitchen sink in here, but yeah, I think definitely the retention piece for sure. So.
Can I ask a question? It says that somebody spent 3 years covering, not 3 years, but the information that you gathered to come up with this. The EDC engaged in the business community. Was there some kind of record of that, or this is prior to my?
Yeah, I think that was just when I had the initial meeting with the EDC and that group, that basically the feedback.
Do you still have record of that, or is it?
I just kind of took notes from what was said in the meeting.
Oh, that was from.
Yeah, I didn't have like any formal.
Oh, that was what the EDC had come up with.
Correct.
That
Yeah, from
that was that
engaging
last
with the
meeting?
business community.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering where that came from.
Yeah.
If there was an official.
I don't think
I
so.
remember
think it was just-
you made packets of information to give to businesses.
Mhm.
Did you ever?
Yeah, those,
That was-
Renee and I go out on our visits, we bring those.
Okay, so you go out on a regular basis?
Well, we haven't since, you know.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, I was just,
But,
yeah, I
yeah.
know, because we had like a vacation. Not really. I was wondering where the research came from.
Yeah.
That's all.
No, I mean,
I remember
when
when-
I talked with the EDC, you know, they were all very knowledgeable about kind of how the business community was feeling and what the priorities were, so.
Okay.
So does anybody else have any questions?
And I had a question because, didn't Kevin bring this up about inventorying businesses?
Yeah, well,
Is that
I
gonna-
I started it.
Okay, you
And
did,
I
okay.
have one. I haven't had a chance to update it
Okay.
lately.
Yeah, that's a
because the
big,
pro-
it's a
Is
big
there
Yeah.
something that we can
That's,
help with?
the
or-
inventory
Yeah.
is an ongoing update.
Sure.
Because when you, and it, so far, only my inventory, I mean, it's like pages.
yeah.
Right.
But it included properties that were available for lease or for sale. It didn't include every commercial
Yeah.
property in town.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so you would update it, you know, periodically as as properties get sold or
Yeah.
new properties come on the market.
And
or-
that happens so
Yeah.
frequently.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of,
Yep.
almost on a weekly basis, have to go
Right.
in and look at it and edit it.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
but that would help, right? If you knew or had an inventory to fall
Well,
back.
I mean, it's a great starting point.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
all right.
I think maybe to get a more complete document for not necessarily properties that are for sale right now, but are commercial properties in town. For example, the mini mart on the corner.
Right, that's been
closed.
empty for a while, yes.
I mean, granted, it's on the market and that's included in my inventory, but something like that, approach the property owner, we'd like to include it, can you give us the details?
Right.
You know, what's the square footage, how many parking spaces,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. You know, what was the last use there? If someone's interested, can they get a hold of you? You know, what's your contact information? But I think that in order to get to that level, I think we need to create a survey to send out to the business owners so that they can complete it
Yeah.
and get back to us, and then we can plug in based on that.
Yeah, and I mean, even like, if there's a property that maybe isn't necessarily being marketed as for sale, but you have an idea.
Well,
that
everything's for
probably-
sale if the
Right,
price is right.
Right, so even like reaching out to those people and saying, hey, you know, would you be interested in selling this property if, you know, the right great business came along and wanted to buy it, you know, and just having that in the back of your mind, or putting it into the inventory and saying, you know, this is a maybe, or, you know.
So we can call you with
Of
questions
course,
and help.
yes, I am
Um,
here to help you.
And
Please
you
reach
will,
out.
as needed, help us implement
Of
this.
course.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course, yeah, no, I'm here, any questions, you know, I'm happy to come out every once in a while if you need some support, so.
Super, super.
Great.
Anybody? We're good? Sadie, thank you
Thank you
so much.
Mary.
I
Thank
so
you.
appreciate
Of
this.
course, of course.
Absolutely wonderful. Oh, the SWOT,
Yep,
should that be incorporated somehow, or was this your jumping off
that was
point?
basically what I used to create this.
Gotcha.
It might
Okay.
just be good to kind of have and be able to look back at and, you know, just from a perspective of, you know, what are Plainfield's strengths and challenges?
Yeah.
and, you know, just kind of for general
Yeah.
knowledge purposes.
And let's see how we can change it. Good, okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good one, stay healthy, and
Have a
talk
safe
soon.
travel back
Yes,
home.
Thank you.
Did you take your PowerPoint, Sadie?
Yeah, I took my flash drive already.
Oh,
so
okay.
That was just right on the computer.
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks. Well, that was very informative and very helpful. homework for the next meeting. Let's each go through and see what we can do, and, you know, like an assignment type thing, you know, I'll take this on, or, you know, something like that. And, I mean, obviously reach out to businesses and make sure, I mean, that's a given. So, and it's a constant once the COVID-19 is, you know, and we're back to being able to visit the businesses.
We've kind of continued to visit certain restaurants to make sure, you know, take out and check up on them to kind of see where
Yeah.
they're at and how things are going. And that, you know, that may be something simple, but it does help.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Find out.
Putting together promotional material. Over and above, I think, the regulatory guidance documents that I prepared. I think we ought to think about actually creating some promo material and to advertise, you know.
And I had an idea about maybe doing something called a farm finder and have a map with all the farms on it.
Yeah.
And I think the farms around here would like to participate in something where they have a
Maybe.
listing
Yeah.
of farms and what they offer.
Maybe one of us should visit the Ag Commission meeting
Exactly.
and bring that up.
Sure.
And, I mean, maybe
I'm
they've
sure
done
they'd
it,
love it. Yeah.
maybe they've already got the map prepared, you know?
They may. But I do know one farmer who would like to have some kind of listing or acknowledgement within the town. So if we could do like something formal and have them listed, if somebody goes in and wants to know, or just promote the material and put the farm finder out there. So like a map, you know, like a map with the farms
Yeah.
and what they sell on it.
Yeah,
I'm
know,
visualizing.
Like the wine trail.
Yes.
You know,
like
they
the
have
wine.
a stamp thing, and why can't farms do that?
Sure.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
that would be something. And then,
Sure.
you know, once you get it all full, maybe, you know, think of some kind of a goodie, you know, a reward for getting all your stamps.
Yes.
You know, that type
That's
of
cute.
thing.
That's a good idea. So
Tie it
that
with
would promote, because we do have a lot of farms.
Yeah, yeah.
the, Mary Ann,
Yeah.
tie that with the farmer's market, the goodie,
Tie it in with the farmers
at the
market.
farmer's market. That
Yeah.
gets them there too.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was something that from her material I was inspired or thought.
Yeah, yeah, but not all the farms participate in the farmer's market.
No, but
and-
the EDC can,
Oh, yeah.
with the price at the
Yeah,
farmer's market.
yeah, that's true, that's true. I thought you meant
Not the
that could be
farms.
one place to get the stamps.
No, no,
You know,
they-
because, I
that's
mean, that way you'd just only go to the farmer's market, and you wouldn't go to the farms,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
which would kind of defeat the purpose.
That would be the end goal.
Yeah,
Is the farmer's
yeah.
market with the E EDC.
Yeah. Okay, so do we have a volunteer to talk to
Yeah.
EDC?
To
Yeah,
the
Ag
farm.
Commission?
Yeah, I know, yes, I can do that. Talk
Okay,
to-
so you'll request to be on the agenda?
I'll talk to Jenny, yeah,
Okay,
okay.
all right, and let me know
Sure.
when.
Okay.
Awesome. Because, I mean, I know Jenny is really gung-ho, and I'm sure that there will be enthusiasm to do this. And we may want to ask them, is that something that you want to prepare? Or do you want us to work on it?
Sure,
You know,
sure.
thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Good, good. Okay, so we will, for next meeting, review the plan. Do you think we want to formally adopt this plan as an action plan? I think it would be a good idea. And then we can update it on an annual basis, or if we get really guns
That's really
blazing,
good.
you know, more often. Okay, could I have a motion to adopt it?
I'll motion to adopt it
Second?
as a formal plan.
I'll second that.
Ada seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. So at the next meeting, we will hopefully have more members present. We will move forward with this as our formal plan. And Sadie's going to email a survey, and she's going to email me some more information. And bless her heart, she's willing to come back. So, you know, I mean, she's such an excellent resource. She's
Yes.
so knowledgeable, and she's just the best. And I really, really appreciate everything she's done. Okay, I have nothing else on that.
Would you like me to move?
Well, we have to finish new business. I don't have any. Anybody else have any business? No? Okay. Correspondence, you all got in the email. Trade name listing, which I have to, Sonia, would you remind me to ask Ryan to update the home ox on it for me? Get the home ox updated, and the SWOT and the action items. So, okay, now you can move to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries at 8:12. We are adjourned. Thank you so much.